Hello from the boardwalk. We are headed to EPCOT to eat and drink all the things at Food and Wine Festival. I'm Shannon, that is Heather, and Felicia and Allison. And the four of us will be doing our own ratings and reviews and sharing our very top picks with you. So let's go. First booth was the Canada booth, and it's the same exact items as last year. It's a lager, a wine, filet mignon, and the cheese soup. And last year we gave it very mediocre ratings, but this year we thought it was overall a really solid booth, with the lager being a big favorite and the filet mignon. So thumbs up, big upgrade from last year for Canada. On to the next one. The Australia booth is right here. If you're familiar with this area, Refreshment Port, Australia booth is right there. Last year we thought it was a really solid overall booth, and this year the menu changed just a little bit, but we still think it's an overall solid booth, with our favorites being the cake, which was delicious, and the lamb chop. So the lamb chop got even better than last year, and we would totally get those two things again. Okay, next up for us is Refreshment Port, which was a big hit for us last year. They're open year round, but they just changed out the menu based on the festival. We have been big fans of the poutine. They have traditional and beef there. Thumbs up again for those two. But we also liked the new cider, which was really tall and really generous proportion. So good, we would totally get that again. But a big favorite last year that is also a favorite this year, the maple cheesecake. I can tell you that it is going to be a top favorite of the whole festival because it was last year and it lived up to all the expectations again. So good options. We are having a really great start to Food and Wine. Last year was not as successful, but today, so far, so good. Next up for us is Earth Eats, which has impossible burger options as well as a couple of strawberry drinks. They have an additional item, but those are the two highlights for us. Even if you're not a vegetarian, the impossible stuff is so delicious. I would order it over and over again. They have the impossible cider, which is always a big hit, but this year they have an impossible meatball that is on a nice bed with lots of great flavors, and that's the one that we kept going back to. It has a slight kick to it. And then they have two strawberry freeze drinks. One is alcoholic and one is not. As people who enjoy alcoholic drinks, we thought the alcohol version would be the one we like the best, but we actually like the non-alcohol version. So impossible options, non-alcohol strawberry options, big hits here. Shimmering Sips is always a tricky one for us. In the past, they've served Dole Whip treats. This year, it's mostly like mimosas and things like that. And everything has like such great presentation. It's pretty and fruity, and we think we're gonna love it, but we don't. It's like pretty but bland. The only thing we liked here was the tropical mimosa, which you can get as part of a flight if you want to like sample things, and then you can get it as a full-size option if you want more. Hello from the Odyssey building, where we have been eating food from nearby booths. This is the building where EPCOT Experience was, and now they've taken EPCOT Experience out and it's just chairs and tables. So if you need a place to go inside, like we did, to cool down, this is a great option. We like to have like a hub inside and go to the nearby booths if you can, because it is hot. So the booth that we just had is the Swanky Saucy Swine, and last year, not a big favorite for us, as you might guess from the name. It has a lot of pork things, so it has like ribs and bacon and stuff like that. We do not like this booth at all, would not recommend it. However, the brand new lettuce wrap that they have this year was our favorite item. So if you want to go there, that's the one item that we'd recommend. Otherwise, there are other good ones, and we've already been to a few of them today. So on to the next one. Okay, Mexico booth. I have the blood orange margarita right here. In the past, we did not love this booth. We expected to, and then didn't like it, but this year they have a menu overhaul. So most of the items were new. And our two favorite, we think anybody could really go there and get like a savory sweet and a drink and be really happy, but our favorites were the blood orange margarita, which has these pink peppercorns in it. And there is a chocolate, it's called Capra Tata de Chocolat, and it is abuelita chocolate bread pudding served with a chocolate creme anglaise. So it's like a chocolate cake kind of thing, really drenched in lots of chocolate. So those are the two biggest hits, but overall Mexico is a really good booth and worth a stop. I'm still in the Odyssey building, staying cool because there's lots of booths nearby, and next up will be another one from this vicinity. We need to talk about the Flavors from Fire booth because last year we had multiple 5-star items. So we kind of went in thinking, yeah, we're gonna like this again, and was so bummed not to love it. It has some really great like savory items with a lot of like texture. And then like they had some interesting drinks because they have like a wine and a beer and a bourbon drink, and we liked them. But this year, like the Swine brine was a 5-star last year for almost all of us. This year, not. It's really strange. Not a bad drink, just not nearly as impressive as last year. The only item that we all really liked is the banh mi bao. It's just a great combination of textures and it's colorful, pretty, but overall disappointed with Flavors from Fire this year. Such a bummer. Okay, so in the same building is Brew Wing, and we didn't expect it to be open because originally it was announced to only be in August. But it was open and it was in the same building we've been sitting out for the last several booths. So we went there. Not our favorite booth. It's a whole lot of wings. We aren't huge wing people. And they have a whole lot of like ciders and beers as well. So some of that might be a big hit with a lot of people. It stays busy, so I think it does. If we have to pick a wing that we really liked, jerk rub was the best because it is dry, where all the others are saucy and it makes them mushy. But the dry one you can have without sauce on it, and then if you really want to dip it in something, you can ask for ranch. So we like that one. Then there's a blood orange beer that we really loved, like everyone did, and I would 100% get that one as a full size again. So those are our two picks for Brew Wing, but overall, not a great booth unless you're just like a big wing person. There are so many other great options at the festival. We just had food from the fry basket, which is a lot of fries that looks gross after we've eaten them. It's a new booth this year, and we were excited because Allison in our group is a vegetarian, so we're like, oh good, she has something to eat. Unfortunately, not super great. The flight, usually when you think of flight, you would think of things that can be ordered as part of the flight or individually, and here you can't. So the flight of fries, we basically didn't love. The sweet potato fries were good, but we wouldn't buy the whole flight just for that. The thing that was good was the yuca fries, which Allison especially loved, and she considers that a really great vegetarian option. But the biggest hit, by far, is the salty dog cocktail. Boyd and Blair vodka with grapefruit juice, ginger, simple syrup, and lime with a salted rim. This was a 5 out of 5 for a lot of us. So I would 100% go to the fry basket for this again. Hello from the Canada Pavilion. We ate at Ireland and brought the food in here because they have tables and chairs and it's air conditioning. So we're all about chasing the air conditioning when it's 110-degree heat index. So Ireland overall, not a great booth for us, but we all did really enjoy the warm chocolate pudding cake, which has Irish cream liqueur custard. That was really delicious. And then they have a few drinks that are wildly different, including a honey wine, which as soon as I drank it, I thought it was a cider. And I made the grossest face. So don't do that one. But we did really like the Guinness Bailey's coffee shake, that's what it's called. And it comes in this cute little cup. So it's like a souvenir and it's got just a little bit of alcohol. It's delicious. So that's a great option at Ireland. Highly recommend that. We are going to do the booth that is inside Canada Far and Wide, which is called Appleseed Orchard. Lots of elements to that one. Lots of things on the menu. So that'll be up next. So this is the Canada Far and Wide space, which is now a booth, so you can see people are standing around. This booth is called Appleseed Orchard. It has a lot of apple things, specifically a lot of sweet apple drinks, ciders and beers. We like two things specifically. We got a flight of 3 ciders, and then one that we really loved is Bold Rock Imperial Apple Hard Cider. Really delicious. Would get the full-size version of that. And the other one is Three Daughters Brewing Apple Pecan Brown Ale, which they had last year, and we love it again. So it's a really great brown ale option, and it's nice and cool. You can either eat in the theater space or right out here where there's tables and chairs. So there you go. Okay, it is day 2. We're back at EPCOT. Outfit change. We did 12 booths yesterday. It was supposed to be more, but we had torrential downpours last night, so we had to stop at 12 from yesterday. And now we are back, hoping to get, I think, 8 more done, at least today. So we'll see how it goes. So our first booth today is Kenya, and they don't have a ton of options, but the 3 things they have are like 5 out of 5. If I come back here for personal reasons, I will be getting all of them again. One of them is a Kenyan coffee barbecued beef tenderloin. So tender, so delicious, like all the different elements work so well together. And then they have a peri-peri skewered shrimp that is on a bed of couscous. 100%, same thing. Textures, beautiful, good portions. They're only like $6, such a good deal. And then they have a beer. In the booklet it says one beer, on the sign it says another. The sign says 81 Bay Brewing Co. Congo Pilsner. That's the one we actually got. The booklet says St. George Ethiopian Lager. I think their booklet's wrong, but the one that's on the sign, the one we got, delicious, and I would 100% get the bigger size if I were to come back and order again. So off to a good start, and we need to get on to our next booth. Okay, so we don't want to just talk about food because there's certain elements of Food and Wine Festival that you might be interested in. This is called the what?
Remy's Ratatouille Hide and Squeak, which is a scavenger hunt. So you can buy it at select locations around World Showcase, and what you do is you go and find Remy. They're like little miniature statues in each country, and then there are stickers on the back, and when you find him, you put the corresponding sticker in the correct spot.
So it's self-guided.
It's self-guided. Yeah, it costs I think $9.99 plus tax, and then you get a prize at the end. There's 4 different cups. There's a Tiana one, a Figment one. I think
we need to go do it
Mickey and
because we just filled it up.
Yeah.
So you can redeem it at Disney Traders, World Traveler, or Creations.
Yes.
So I think now we need to go get the prize. Right. There you go. We just finished the Refreshment Outpost, which is in this section right here. And we have another menu correction. For some reason, the booklet is wrong on our booth today. They have Dole Whip watermelon bean here, but it's not available there, and it wasn't published beforehand as being there. They do have spicy kateri, which is beans and grains and slaw mix, and we liked it better last year, but it's still a great vegetarian option. So if you're a vegetarian, the vegetarian in our group loved it. Can you hear the drums over there? Nice ambiance. But they have several drinks here, and one of the things about the Refreshment Outpost drinks is that they're really generously sized and not that expensive, relatively speaking. But the 2 that we liked as a group was the allspice hard cider. It had a very light allspice flavor, not overpowering, and then the key lime kolsch, I think that's how you pronounce it, was a big hit with the group as well. Kind of gave both of those 5 out of 5. They also have a coffee dark beer, which for a dark beer is very light, but we just didn't like the taste of it. So anyway, that was Refreshment Outpost, and now we are headed to China. Okay, we were headed to China, and they opened late and had some missing menu items, so we'll be back there. So instead we pivoted to go to India, which has 3 different food items and 5 drinks. We really like the food, especially the samosas and the chicken tikka masala. Just incredible like flavors, portions, etc. The crispy paneer look like little like mozzarella sticks that you can dip in their mango curry ketchup. The actual crispy paneers were kind of bland, but it might be a great option for kids because it's not too spicy, but the mango curry ketchup was kind of the highlight there. And then for the drinks, we didn't like them. We did not like them. They were all just kind of so boring, flavorless, etc. So if we were to go back there, we would just get a couple of the food options. So I'm not going to promise what's next because I'm afraid we're going to have to pivot again. But anyway, on to the next booth. Okay, we just finished up the Alps, which has 3 food items, including these raclettes. So it's Swiss cheese with a mix of different things. There's a vegetarian option, and then there is the one that includes ham, and then there is a dessert one. The dessert one is the one that we all liked. These look really good with the ham and cheese, but they aren't. They're not great. We think like the dessert has some sweetness to it, which is a great balance for the Swiss cheese that is in these. The other thing they have here is a flight of wines, or full-size wines as well, and some rosé drinks. And the only of those drinks that we really liked was the frozen rosé, which comes in a really cute cup, and it's just slightly sweet, and the fact that it's frozen makes it extra refreshing. So at the Alps, we would get the dessert raclette and the frozen rosé if we were to go back. Those were our favorites. Okay, next up is the Germany pavilion, or not pavilion, but Germany booth. Isn't it cute over here? Okay, so a lot of the food here looks delicious, and none of it is terrible, but we had 2 big standout things that we would all want to order again. One is a word that is hard to pronounce, Schinkennudeln, but essentially it's pasta gratin with ham, onions, and cheese. Really good portions, good flavors. And then there are some drinks, including a flight of beers, but one of the items in there is a Schifferhofer pineapple, which is delicious. If you know, Schifferhofer is sold over here as a grapefruit flavor year-round, and so it's popular with Disney Parks fans. But they seasonally will offer things here, like during the festival of the holidays, it'll be pomegranate, but right now it's pineapple. It's probably my favorite of all the Schifferhofers I've had. So you can get it here as part of a flight or as a full-size option. That's it for Germany. Okay, 2 booths to tell you about. We ate them both inside Regal Eagle, which is the quick service, but you can usually go in most quick service restaurants and use their seating. We are chasing like air conditioning and shade because it is almost 100-degree heat index. And if you go in there, not only do you have air conditioning, but you can order drinks. So IMO will order like bottles of water and the fountain drinks for our group, and we ate it with the food from the booths nearby. And if we sit here long enough, we can actually refill our cups while we're eating. And so far we've had 2 booths from here. The first one I want to tell you about is Spain. And Spain has several good options, but I would eat just about anything here over again. But the 2 that I want to point out are the charcuterie, which isn't served on a charcuterie board the way that you would mostly think of charcuterie. It is kind of like deconstructed in a cup, where it has like chunks of the items, and it is delicious and easy to eat. And so that is a really great option at the Spain booth. The other thing that we liked is there is a few different wines, and you can get them as a flight. And the flight includes a white, a rosé, and a red, which is a nice sampler, and we thought they were all good. If you like any one of them in particular, you can order it in the larger size. So that is Spain. The other booth that we ate while sitting in Regal Eagle is the Italy booth, and this is the most annoying booth of all to us, because not only does it cost a lot, I think it was $89 to buy all of the food and drinks there, but on the menu, can you see that? It lists the beverages as just Moscato, Prosecco. So we could tell you like our reviews of it today, and we have no idea what the brand was or anything like that. And when you come, it could be something totally different. So it's expensive and just generic. And so we really dislike Italy for that. However, the 2 standouts here, or a few standouts, were the Italian margarita, which we all really loved and would order again. And they have 2 gnocchi options. One is with a white sauce, which it was good, but it's a little heavy for this weather. And the other has more of a vodka sauce with Romano cheese and a little bacon. So that would be the one food item that we all like the most. So if you have to go there, don't buy everything because it's going to cost too much. But those 2 items were delicious. Okay, we're still in the American Adventure Pavilion, but now we're over at the Hops and Barley booth, which often has a line, but it's not too bad today. They, by the name, you would think would have really great drinks, and they do have several drink options here, and a variety of different options, but it's the food that we especially liked from this booth and wouldn't hesitate to order it. They have carrot cake, and they have a like crab slider as well as a hot beef sandwich. So wouldn't hesitate to get any of those 3 items again for maybe like a meal. So a thumbs up for the food. Next up, we have the funnel cake booth, which has a regular menu, but then they also often have a featured item during the festivals. And for Food and Wine Festival, it's a pina colada funnel cake. We didn't dislike it. It was good for a funnel cake, but it's $9.50, and the line often grows here. So not a high priority for us, but also not a bad funnel cake. Okay, so we've been using our booklet all day as a guide for all of the booths, but there's something else in the back, which is called Emile's Fromage Montage.
Yes, and all that is that there are different places around in the World Showcase for the Food and Wine Festival that if you purchase the item, you can get a stamp in your passport, and once you get 5 stamps, you can then redeem it for a prize.
Okay, so this, unlike the other one, this is not self-guided.
Nope.
They stamp it at the booths.
No.
And then where do you get the price?
You get the price at Shimmering Sips, and you don't have to do it all in one day. So if you're here multiple days, and it's the same thing as the scavenger hunt, you can, come back a couple times and complete it, and then once you're all done, you can get your prize.
Okay, so we need to redeem that one as well, and we can show you what that's like. pretend like this is Japan, even though it's inside Tangerine Cafe where there's air conditioning. We got all the food and drinks from Tangerine Cafe. From Japan. And the flavors and textures and all of it were not good there, which I think was how we felt last year as well. The one exception is that they have this lemon drop drink that is delicious. It was our favorite last year. It's our favorite again. Would 100% go back there just for the lemon drop. Really recommend that one. Next up are other booths that are near here, as we are lucky enough to have one of the few tables inside. Okay, next up is the Greece booth, and we all really like Greek food, but some of these things were better than others. They have 3 food options and 3 wines. So on the food side, we really like the spanakopita and the brittle cheese. The spanakopita has a very flaky crust and delicious flavors, and the brittle cheese is a very interesting texture, and then it has the pistachios and honey on top, which is a really great combo. It's a very interesting item. Those 2 are our favorite food items. They're both vegetarian. So good options for vegetarians if you need to find them. I know that can be really tricky sometimes. Then they have the 3 wines, which you can get as part of a flight or individually. The one we really liked was the rosé. So if you're ordering again, we'd probably just get the full size of that one. Next up, Tangerine Cafe. Tangerine Cafe is next, and it is more like a restaurant. It's not a temporary booth. So there's seating, and you go inside to order. Used to be a quick service restaurant. Now for some reason they call it a booth. Anyway, lots of good options. This is almost always a favorite for us, and it is no different this year. They have kebabs and falafel and Moroccan bread and pistachio cake and lots of great drinks, especially ones with lots of fig. So our 2 favorites here, and I would say overall it's just a great booth. So if you wanted a one-stop shop to get a whole bunch of food in one place, this is the where to go. Our 2 favorites were this fig cocktail. You can kind of see the figs floating in it a little bit. They tend to do a lot of fig things here. And our favorite food item was a Moroccan bread that is super soft and has multiple dipping things with it, including hummus. So overall, would not hesitate to come here for an entire meal. And now we are off to one of our last few booths. Okay, here's the Belgian booth. It is right next to the Morocco Pavilion. Interesting thing about the Belgian booth, it is open for breakfast. So this part of the World Showcase is open if you want to come back here and have some waffles. But starting at 11, they have the lunch and dinner menu, which is what we just ate. So they have 3 food options, including 2 waffles. And both of the waffles have a sweet topping. One of them is warm chocolate ganache, and the other is berry compote and whipped cream. The other food item is the beer braised beef that has smoked Gouda mashed potatoes. We wanted to like the beef and the mashed potatoes. It just didn't have great flavor this year. Both of the waffle options were decent if you want a waffle, but you need to eat them pretty quickly because they get mushy with all the toppings on it. For the drinks, we really like the chilled coffee, which has Godiva chocolate liqueur in it. Didn't love the other ones as much. So that is the Belgian booth. Okay, we have the Brazil booth. Can you see it through the foliage? It's right next to Belgium and Tangerine Cafe, so it's nice when they're all in a row. This only has 2 food items and 2 drink items, and the food items sound delicious. One of them is called, I'm gonna mispronounce these, I apologize to Brazilian people, feijoada, but it is black beans with pork belly, Brazil nut pesto, and long grain white rice. Sounds delicious. Everything in that was good except for the pork belly, which is kind of a key element. And then there's Brazilian cheese bread, which also sounds delicious, but the cheese they use is not good. So we did not like it. For the drinks, they had a black lager, which is a dark beer and surprisingly light. Not everybody in our group likes dark beer, but we all like this one. And it's a light dark beer, which makes it nice when you're out in this heat. And the other thing is a word that I have a trouble pronouncing, but it's frozen caparina. But it is nice and slushy, and I have it right here. And it's a delicious option, very popular with the group. So this and a black lager, the 2 drinks, I had hit for Brazil. Okay, so this back here is the line for the France booth. It stays busy, and for a good reason, because it has several good options. So they have 4 food options. They have a warm beignet filled with 3 cheese blend. They have a brioche with escargot, which has a garlic and parsley sauce on top. It's very garlicky in my opinion. And then they have a braised short rib and cabernet with mashed potatoes. That was a big hit for us. That would be a favorite at the France booth for Food and Wine 2022. And then lastly, they have a creme brulee, vanilla creme brulee with house-made raspberry jam. For the drinks, there is a strawberry rose mimosa, which is beautiful in like a gradient color. I'm not sure how they do that. A Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon blend. Chardonnay, which was our favorite of the drinks. It's not all of us are huge like white wine people, but this one was a hit with everyone. And then lastly is the martini slush, which has vodka, Grey Goose, and cranberry and passion fruit juice. It's good, but a little bit sweet. So this is a popular booth though, so if you want to eat there, you might want to go there first before it gets too busy, or just plan on waiting in line. Okay, we intended to do the China booth first today, but when we arrived, they opened late and then didn't have all of the menu items. So unfortunately, our very last booth is China, and I say unfortunately because it is not a good one. If we had ended on France, that would have been ending on a higher note. So China has a few different options that you would think would be easy to get right, like a bao bun, chicken dumplings, and dan dan noodles. Really bad, really bad. And we always feel that way about the China booth, and a lot of it's pretty expensive too. So that makes it even more of a bummer. And then they have a couple of drinks that have boba in them. I don't recommend those. They have a jasmine beer though that we really like, and that's the only thing that we really like. But we also didn't mind the Good Fortune Citrus, which has triple sec grapefruit and white boba in it. Not too bad. But the Baijiu Punch gets a special shout out for tasting like absolute pure poison. So do not recommend that. They also have one last drink called Fireworks, which has tequila, vodka, orange, and mango. So overall, do not recommend the China booth, but if you're gonna go, look for the jasmine beer and the Good Fortune citrus drink. So that is it from China. And that is it. We did all of the booths at Food and Wine Festival. Overall, much better experience this year than last year. We had a really rough time last year because there were so many bad items and bad booths, but we didn't have a bad experience this year. We found lots of favorite items and favorite booths that we shared along the way here. So hope you learned some things along the way. We will have all the information assembled in various forms, articles. We have menus, prices, pictures of every item, and a map of all of our favorites that you can use and save to your phone as a reference while you are at Food and Wine Festival. So the links to all that will be in the description. Thanks for following along.